O nectar, ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of light, sight, of all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavat Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwandaditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees. O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. This means, oh, isn't your life air then? Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostu Me. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Mad Sangin Mad Guru Mad Mahadana Mad Nishtaraga Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostude. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu sadhu tadayin atini chochatakada hanamuncha gadachin mam premnarit kantayospuda. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Which is a good idea to read it out loud in order for it to appear in your voice. Yeah? You hear what I'm talking. You heard me talking. All right, here we are. Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9. We're starting with verse 31, continuing with Prahlad's prayers to Lord Nrsingadev to pacify him. No one else could. Text 31. No more troubles? I got no more triples? Okay. Are we going to chant this? Isha bhavang tatonya Mayataratma Padabudiriam Artha. Yes, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, the entire cosmic creation is caused by you, and the cosmic manifestation is an effect of your energy. Although the entire cosmos is but you alone, you keep yourself aloof from it. The conception of mine and yours is certainly a type of illusion, Maya, because everything is an emanation from you and is therefore not different from you. Indeed, the cosmic manifestation is non-different from you, and the annihilation is also caused by you. This relationship between your lordship and the cosmos is illustrated by the example of the seed and the tree, or the subtle cause and the gross manifestation. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 7.10, the Lord says, Bijamam sarvabhutana vidiparta sanatanam. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences. In the Vedic literature it is said, Ishavasyamidang sarvam yatova imani bhutani jayante and sarvam kalavidam brahma. Tattva. Everything is one, the Supreme Lord, yet everything is separate from the Lord. This is the understanding of oneness and difference. The example given in this regard, Vasukalavad Ashtitarvo, is very easy to understand. Everything exists in time, yet there are different phases of the time factor, present, past, and future. Present, past, and future are one. Every day we experience the time factor as morning, noon, and evening. And although morning is different from noon, which is different from evening, all of them taken together are one. The time factor is the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the Lord is separate from the time factor. Everything is created, maintained, and annihilated by time, but the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, has no beginning and no end. He is Nityak Shasvata, eternal, permanent. Everything passes through time's phases, past and future, yet the Lord is always the same. Thus there is undoubtedly a difference between the Lord and the cosmic manifestation, but actually they are not different. Accepting them to be different is called avidya, ignorance. True oneness, however, is not equivalent to the conception of the Mayavadis. The true understanding is that the differences are manifested by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The seed is manifested as a tree, which displays varieties in its trunk, branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore sung, Kesava Tuya Jagata Vichitra. My dear Lord, your creation is full of varieties. The varieties are one and at the same time different. This is the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. The conclusion given in Brahma Samhita is this: Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. Because the Lord is the supreme cause, everything is one with him. But when we consider varieties, we find that one thing is different from another. We may conclude, therefore, that there is no difference between one thing and another. Yet in varieties, there are differences. In this regard, Madhvacharya gives an example concerning a tree and a tree on fire. Both trees are the same, but they look different because of the time factor. The time factor is under the control of the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Supreme Lord is different from time. An advanced devotee consequently does not distinguish between happiness and distress. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-8, Tatteno kampam sushamikshmano punjana evatmakritam vipakam. When a devotee is in a condition of so-called distress, he considers it a gift or blessing from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When a devotee is always thus situated in Krishna consciousness, in any condition of life, he is described as Mukti Pade, Sadaya Bhak, a perfect candidate for returning home, back to Godhead. The word Dayabhak means inheritance. A son inherits the property of his father. Similarly, when the devotee is fully Krishna conscious, undisturbed by dualities, he is sure that he will return home, back to Godhead, just as one inherits his father's property. Text 32. Nyasidam atmani jagat vilambayamaye. Shall we do it all together? We're doing the next verse. Where are you? Jeez. Oh my Lord, it's a time factor. Oh my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, after the annihilation of the creative energy is kept in you, who appear to sleep with half-closed eyes, O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, after the annihilation of the creative energy is kept in you, I know, but I'm trying to understand the sentence. in you who appear to sleep. Okay. O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, after the annihilation, the creative energy is kept in you, thank you, who appear to sleep with half-closed eyes. Actually, however, you do not sleep like an ordinary human being, for you are always in a transcendental stage, beyond the creation of the material world, and you always feel transcendental bliss. As Karnodakashayi Vishnu, you thus remain in your transcendental status, not touching material objects. Although you appear to sleep, this sleeping is distinct from sleeping in ignorance. Purport. As explained very clearly in the Brahma Samhita 547, Yakaranana vijale bhajatisma yoga nidram ananta jagad anda saroma kupaha adara shaktim avalambya padam swamurtim govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who lies down in the causal ocean in his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, with all the universes generating from the pores of hair on his transcendental body, and who accepts the mystic slumber of eternity. The Adi Purusha, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Govinda, expands himself as Mahavishnu. After the annihilation of this cosmic manifestation, he keeps himself in transcendental bliss. The word Yoga Nidram is used in reference to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should understand that this Nidra, or sleep, is not like our Nidra in the mode of ignorance. The Lord is always situated in transcendence. He is Satchidananda, eternally in bliss, and thus he is not disturbed by sleep like ordinary human beings. It should be understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in transcendental bliss in all stages. Srila Madhvacharya concisely states that that the Lord is Turyastita, always situated in transcendence. In transcendence, there is no such thing as Jagarana Nidra Shishupti, wakefulness, sleep, and deep sleep. The practice of yoga is similar to the Yoga Nidra of Mahavishnu. Yogis are advised to keep their eyes half closed, but this state is not at all one of sleep. Although imitation yogis, especially in the modern age, manifest their so-called yoga by sleeping. In the Shastra, yoga is described as dhyana-vastita, a state of full meditation. But this is meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dhyana-vastita tad-gatena manasa. The mind should always be situated at the lotus feet of the Lord. Yoga practice does not mean sleeping. The mind should always be actively fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord. Then one's practice of yoga will be successful. Text 33. Tasyaiva varpubridam nijakala shaktya sanchodita prakriti dharmana atma gudham ambasyananta shayanat viramat samadher naber abut kanika padaban mabhabjan. The cosmic manifestation, the material world, is also your body. This total lump of matter is agitated by your potent energy, known as Kala Shakti, and thus the three modes of material nature are manifested. You awaken from the bed of Shesha, Ananta, and from your navel a small transcendental seed is generated. It is from this seed that the lotus flower of the gigantic universe is manifested, exactly as a banyan tree grows from a small seed. Purport. The three different forms of Mahavishnu, namely Karnodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, who are the origin of creation and maintenance, are gradually being described. From Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is generated, and from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu gradually expands. Thus, Mahavishnu is the original cause of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu comes the lotus flower from which Lord Brahma is manifested. Thus, the original cause of everything is Vishnu, and consequently, the cosmic manifestation is not different from Vishnu. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, wherein Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam bhavartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Garbhodakashaya Vishnu is an expansion of Karnadakashaya Vishnu, who is an expansion of Sankarsana. In this way, Krishna is ultimately the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. The conclusion is that both the material world and the spiritual world are considered to be the body of the Supreme Lord. We can understand that the material body is caused by the spiritual body and is therefore an expansion of the spiritual body. Thus, when one takes up spiritual activities, one's entire material body is spiritualized. Similarly, in this material world, when the Krishna consciousness movement expands, the entire material world becomes spiritualized. As long as we do not realize this, we live in the material world. Oh, this is so nice. Shall we hear that again? Similarly, in this material world, well, I'll start one sentence before. Thus, when one takes up spiritual activities, one's entire material body is spiritualized. Similarly, in this material world, when the Krishna consciousness movement expands, the entire material world becomes spiritualized. As long as we do not realize this, we live in the material world. But when we are fully Krishna conscious, we live not in the material world, but in the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Text 34. Tat sambhavat kaviratonya papishamanas tvam bijamat manitatam sabahir vichintya navidan abdashatam apsuni majjamano yatin kure katamakhat palapeta bijam. From that great lotus flower, Brahma was generated. But Brahma certainly could see nothing but the lotus. Therefore, thinking you to be outside, Lord Brahma dove into the water and attempted to find the source of the lotus for 100 years. He could find no trace of you, however, for when a seed fructifies, the original seed cannot be seen. Purport. This is the description of the cosmic manifestation. The development of the cosmic manifestation is like the fructification of a seed. When cotton is transformed into thread, the cotton is no longer visible. And when the thread is woven into cloth, the thread is no longer visible. Similarly, it is perfectly correct that when the seed that had generated from the navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu became manifested as the cosmic manifestation, one can no longer understand where the cause of the cosmic manifestation is. Modern scientists have tried to explain the origin of creation by a chunk theory, but no one can explain how such a chunk might have burst. The Vedic literature, however, explains clearly that the total material energy was agitated by the three modes of material nature because of the glance of the Supreme Lord. In other words, in terms of the chunk theory, the bursting of the chunk was caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus one must accept the Supreme Cause, Lord Vishnu, as the cause of all causes. Text 35. Yatvat mayon sa twat mayonir avishim bitiv ashmitum bra kale nativra tapasat parishuddha bhavaha tvam atmanisha bhuviganda bhatam bhutendriya shayamane patitam dadarsha. Lord Brahma, who is celebrated as Atmayoni, having been born without a mother, was struck with wonder. Thus he took shelter of the lotus flower. And when he had been purified after undergoing severe austerities for many hundreds of years, he could see that the cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was spread throughout his own body and senses, just as aroma, although very subtle, is perceived in the earth. Purport. Here the statement of self-realization, Aham Brahmasmi, which is interpreted by the Mayavad philosophy to mean I am the Supreme Lord, is explained. The Supreme Lord is the original seed of everything. Janmadyasya yataha ahang sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pavartate. Thus, the Lord extends everywhere, even throughout our bodies, because our bodies are made of material energy, which is the Lord's separated energy. One should realize that since the Supreme Lord spreads throughout one's body, and since the individual soul is a part of the Supreme Lord, everything is Brahman. Sarvam kalavidam Brahma. Sarvam kalavidam. Kalavidam. Sarvam kalavidam Brahma. This realization was achieved by Lord Brahma after he was purified, and it is possible for everyone. When one is completely in knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, he thinks, I am part of the Supreme Lord. My body is made of his material energy, and I therefore have no separate existence. Yet although the Supreme Lord is spread everywhere, he is different from me. This is the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. An example given in this regard is that of the aroma within the earth. In the earth there are aromas in colors, but one cannot see them. Actually, we find that when flowers grow from the earth, they appear with different colors and aromas, which they have certainly gathered from the earth, although in the earth we cannot see them. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his different energies, spreads throughout one's body and soul, although we cannot see him. Oh, so nice. An intelligent man, however, can see the Supreme Lord existing everywhere. Andantarasta paramanu charantarastam. The Lord is within the universe and within the atom by his different energies. This is the real vision of the Supreme Lord for the intelligent man. Brahma, the first created being, became the most intelligent person by his tapasya, austerity, and thus he came to this realization. We must therefore take all knowledge from Brahma, who became perfect by his tapasya.
I'd like to welcome Damodar Vamsidhari Prabhu to the Govardhan Studios. Haribol. Come on, a little more. Let's go. Let's Damodar. Give it up. Give it up here, Govardhan. Really glad you're here. He has to leave a little early because he has other sevas, so if he heads out, at least you got a chance to look at him. 36. Evam sahasra varanangri shira kuroru nasadya karna nayana bharana yudhadyam maya mayam sarupalakshita sanivesham drishva mahapurusham apamudam barincha. Lord Brahma could then see you possessing thousands and thousands of faces, feet, heads, hands, thighs, noses, ears, and eyes. You are very nicely dressed, being decorated and bedecked with varieties of ornaments and weapons. Seeing you in the form of Lord Vishnu, your symptoms and form being transcendental, your legs extending from the lower planets, Lord Brahma achieved transcendental bliss. Purport, Lord Brahma, being completely pure, could see the original form of the Lord as Vishnu, having many thousands of faces and forms. This process is called self-realization. Genuine self-realization consists not of perceiving the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, but seeing face to face the transcendental form of the Lord. As distinctly mentioned here, Lord Brahma saw the Supreme Lord as Mahapurusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna also saw Krishna in the same way. Therefore he told the Lord, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam. You are the Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth, and the eternal divine person. The Lord is the supreme form. Purusham Shashvatam. He is everlastingly the supreme enjoyer. It is not that the impersonal Brahman assumes a form. On the contrary, the impersonal Brahman effulgence is an emanation from the supreme form of the Lord. Upon being purified, Brahma could see the supreme form of the Lord. The impersonal Brahman cannot have heads, noses, ears, hands, and legs. This is not possible, for these are attributes of the Lord's form. The word Maya Mayam means spiritual knowledge. This is explained by Madhvacharya. Maya Mayam Jnana Swarupam. That's nice. Maya Mayam Jnana Swarupam. The word Maya Mayam, describing the Lord's form, should not be taken to mean illusion. Rather, the Lord's form is factual, and seeing this form is the result of perfect knowledge. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam jamanam mante gyanavan mam prapadyate. The word gyanavan refers to one who is perfectly in knowledge. Such a person can see the personality of Godhead, and therefore he surrenders unto the Lord. The Lord's being symptomized by a face, nose, ears, and so on is eternal. Without such a form, no one can be blissful. The Lord, however, is Sakchidananda Vigraha, as stated in the Shastra, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sakchidananda Vigraha. When one is in perfect transcendental bliss, he can see the Lord's supreme form, Vigraha. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says, Gandakya devata yadvat pritivim vyapyatishtati evam vyaptam jagad vishnum brahmatmastam dadarshaha. The Lord Brahma saw that as aromas and colors spread throughout the earth, the Supreme Personality of God pervades the cosmic manifestation in a subtle form. Text number 37. Tasmai bhavan hayashiras tanuvam hibibrad vedadruhavati balau madukaita bhakyau hatvana yachukrikanamscha rajastamascha Satvam tava priyatamam tanum amananti. My dear Lord, when you appeared as Hayagriva with the head of a horse, you killed two demons known as Madhu and Kaitaba, who are full of the modes of passion and ignorance. Then you delivered the Vedic knowledge to Lord Brahma. For this reason, all the great saints accept your forms as transcendental, untinged by material qualities. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his transcendental form is always ready to give protection to his devotees. As mentioned herein, the Lord in the form of Hayagriva killed two demons named Madhu and Kaitaba when they attacked Lord Brahma. Modern demons think that there was no life in the beginning of creation, but from Srimad Bhagavatam we understand that the first living creature created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead was Lord Brahma, who is full of Vedic understanding. Unfortunately, those entrusted with distributing Vedic knowledge, such as the devotees engaged in spreading Krishna consciousness, may sometimes be attacked by demons, but they must rest assured that demoniac attacks will not be able to harm them, for the Lord is always prepared to give them protection. The Vedas provide the knowledge by which we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedaishcha sarver ahameva vedya. The devotees of the Lord are always ready to spread knowledge by which one may understand the Lord through Krishna consciousness. But the demons, being unable to understand the Supreme Lord, are full of ignorance and passion. Thus the Lord, whose form is transcendental, is always ready to kill the demons. By culturing the mode of goodness, one can understand the position of the transcendental Lord and how the Lord is always prepared to remove all obstacles on the path of understanding him by cultivating goodness. In summary, whenever the Lord incarnates, he appears in his original transcendental form. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.7, Yada yada hi dharmasya Glani bhavati bharata abhutanam ataramasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. It is simply foolish to think It is simply foolish to think of the Lord as being originally impersonal, but accepting a material body when he appears as a personal incarnation. Whenever the Lord appears, he appears in his original transcendental form, which is spiritual and blissful. But unintelligent men, such as the Mayavadis, cannot understand the transcendental form of the Lord, and therefore the Lord chastises them by saying, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. Whenever the Lord appears, whether as a fish, a tortoise, a hog, or any other form, one should understand that he maintains his transcendental position, and that his only business, as stated here, is Hutva, to kill the demons. The Lord appears in order to protect the devotees and kill the demons. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam. Since the demons are always ready to oppose Vedic civilization, they are sure to be killed by the transcendental form of the Lord. 38. Itandra tirya grishideva jashavatara Lokam vibhavayasi hangsa jagat pratipan dharmam mahapurusha pasiyukanuvrittam channakalo yadabhavastriyugota sattvam. In this way, my Lord, you appear in various incarnations as a human being, an animal, a great saint, a demigod, a fish, or a tortoise, thus maintaining the entire creation in different planetary systems and killing the demoniac principles. According to the age, O my Lord, you protect the principles of religion. In the age of Kali, however, you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore you are known as Tri-Yuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. Purport. As the Lord appeared just to maintain Lord Brahma from the attack of Madhu and Kaitabha, he also appeared to protect the great devotee Prahlad Maharaj. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to protect the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. There are 4 yugas or millenniums, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. In all the yugas but Kali Yuga, the Lord appears in various incarnations and asserts himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But although Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appears in Kali Yuga, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he never asserted himself as such. On the contrary, whenever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was addressed as being as good as Krishna, he blocked his ears with his hands, denying his identity with Krishna because he was playing the part of a devotee. Lord Chaitanya knew that in Kali Yuga there would be many bogus incarnations pretending to be God, and therefore he avoided asserting himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, in many Vedic literatures, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam Sangopungastra Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtana Prayir Yajantihi Samedasaha. In Kali Yuga, intelligent men worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was always accompanied by his associates such as Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhara, and Srivasa. The entire Krishna consciousness movement is based on the principles of the Sankirtan movement inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, one who tries to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the Sankirtan movement knows everything perfectly. He is Sumedas, a person with substantial intelligence. 39. Naitan manastava katas vikuntanata sampriyate durita dushta masaritivran kamaturan hashashoka bayanisha nartam tasmin katam tavakatim bimbashamidhina. My dear Lord of the Vaikuntha planets, where there is no anxiety, my mind is extremely sinful and lusty, being sometimes so-called happy and sometimes so-called distressed. My mind is full of lamentation and fear, and it always seeks more and more money. Thus it has become most polluted and is never satisfied in topics concerning you. I am therefore most fallen and poor. In such a status of life, how shall I be able to discuss your activities? Maharaj represents himself as a common man, although he actually has nothing to do with this material world. Prahlad is always situated in the Vaikuntha planets of the spiritual world, but on behalf of the fallen souls, he asks how, when his mind is always disturbed by material things, he can discuss the transcendental position of the Lord. The mind becomes sinful because we are always engaged in sinful activities. Anything not connected with Krishna consciousness should be understood to be sinful. Indeed, Krishna demands in Bhagavad Gita 18:66, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja hantam sarva papebhyo mokshaishami masuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. As soon as one surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, Krishna immediately relieves one of the reactions of sinful activities. Therefore, one who has not surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord should be understood to be sinful, foolish, degraded among men, and bereft of all real knowledge because of atheistic propensities. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.15. Namam duskritina mudha prapadyante naradhama maya pratagyana asuram bhavamashitaha. Therefore, especially in this age of Kali, the mind must be cleansed, and this is possible only by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Chaitotarpana Marjanam. In this age, the process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only method by which to cleanse the sinful mind. When the mind is completely cleansed of all sinful reactions, one can then understand his duty in the human form of life. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to educate sinful men so that they may become pious simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. To cleanse the heart so that one may become sober and wise in this age of Kali. There is no value to any method other than the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Prahlad Maharaj has confirmed this process in previous verses. Twadvirya Gayana Mahamrita Mugna Chittaha. Prahlad further confirms that if one's mind is always absorbed in thought of Krishna, that very qualification will purify one and keep one purified always. To understand the Lord and his activities, one must free his mind from all contamination of the material world. And this one can achieve by simply chanting the Lord's holy name. Thus one becomes free of all material bondage. 40. Jihvaikato chutavikarshati mavratravanam grano kwachakir bhavisapatnya iva geha patim lunanti. My dear Lord, O infallible one, my position is like that of a person who has many wives, all trying to attract him in their own way. For example, the tongue is attracted to palatable dishes, the genitals to sex with an attractive woman, and the sense of touch to contact with soft things. The belly, although filled, still wants to eat more, and the ear, not attempting to hear about you, is generally attracted to cinema songs. The sense of smell is attracted to yet another side. The restless eyes are attracted to scenes of sense gratification, and the active senses are attracted elsewhere. In this way, I am certainly embarrassed. Purport: the human form of life is meant for God realization, but this process, which begins with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is disturbed as long as our senses are materially attracted. Therefore, devotional service means purifying the senses. In the conditioned state, our senses are covered by material sense gratification, and as long as one is not trained in purifying the senses, one cannot become a devotee. In our Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, we advise from the very beginning that one restrict the activities of the senses, especially the tongue, which is described by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as most greedy and unconquerable. To stop this attraction of the tongue, one is authoritatively advised not to accept meat or similar unedible things, nor to allow unedible or uneatable, uneatable things, nor to allow the tongue to hanker to drink or smoke. Even the drinking of tea and coffee is not permitted. Similarly, the genitals must be restricted from illicit sex. Without such restraint of the senses, one cannot make advancement in Krishna consciousness. The only method of controlling the senses is to chant and hear the holy name of the Lord. Otherwise, one will always be disturbed, as a householder with more than one wife would be disturbed by them for sense gratification.
Text 41. Evam swakarma patitam bhavavaitaranyam anyonya janma maranashana bita bitam pashyan janam sapada vigrahavanaina maitram anteti parchada prabhiti buddham raja piprihi mudamaja. My dear Lord, you were always transcendentally situated on the other side of the river of death. But because of the reactions of our own activities, we are suffering on this side. Indeed, we have fallen into this river and are repeatedly suffering the pains of birth and death and eating horrible things. Now kindly look upon us, not only upon me, but also upon all others who are suffering. And by your causeless mercy and compassion, deliver us and maintain us. Purport. Prahlad Maharaj, a pure Vaishnava, prays to the Lord not only for himself, but for all other suffering living entities. There are two classes of Vaishnavas, the Bhajananandis and Gosjanandis. The Bhajananandis worship the Lord only for their personal benefit, but the Gosjanandis try to elevate all others to Krishna consciousness so that they may be saved. Fools who cannot perceive repeated birth and death and the other miseries of materialistic life cannot be sure of what will happen to them in their next birth. Indeed, these foolish, materially contaminated rascals have manufactured an irresponsible way of life that does not consider the next life. They do not know that according to one's own activities, one receives a body selected from 8,400,000 species. These rascals have been described in Bhagavad Gita as dushkritino mudaha. Non-devotees, those who are not Krishna conscious, must engage in sinful activities, and therefore they are mudhas, fools and rascals. They are such fools that they do not know what will happen to them in their next life. Although they see varieties of living creatures eating abominable things, pigs eating stool, crocodiles eating all kinds of flesh, and so on, they do not realize that they themselves, because of their practice of eating all kinds of nonsense in this life, will be destined to eat the most abominable things in their next life. A Vaishnava is always afraid of such an abominable life, and to free himself from such horrible conditions, he engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. The Lord is compassionate to them, and therefore he appears for their benefit. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhana madharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. The Lord is always ready to help the fallen souls, but because they are fools and rascals, they do not take to Krishna consciousness and abide by the instructions of Krishna. Therefore,